reconnected to Facebook. So,
Oh, hell.
We should be live on the Southeast Softwash YouTube channel and over on the Facebook page as well. What's going on, guys? Friday morning, StreamYard kicked you off for a while. They had some kind of spat, if you will, with Facebook and third-party streaming platforms. So I think we're back connected to the Facebook page here. So what's going, Ketcho? Ketcho's all about it, dude. It's rainy down here. I love it. It is, as they would say in Scotland, it's pure driest outside today, meaning it is a great gray, rainy, misty. It's perfectly driest out there. I don't know, ride around my rover and look at bogs and whatnot like that. They have a lot of tweed on. Yeah, lad. I do like the tweed. I do like it.
The tweed.
Hard to beat the tweed. Guys, we're jamming this Friday morning. I wanted to come to you and knock out a quick video and talk about. And look, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be messing with the palm of my hand right here some because I've got a piece of metal stuck in my freaking hand and I can't see it, but I feel it. And it's basically doing the same thing that Kamala Harris is doing. I can't see her, but I can feel her hurting me somewhere out in the ether. So I'm picking at this, trying to get this out of my freaking palm. But that's what we're talking about today is inflation. And well, I don't care about it. Really, not for real. But wanted to give you some quick thoughts, maybe a joke or two here and there. So obviously, hey, Ron, how's inflation up in Nashville? How y'all doing up there?
Boy, inflation. Hey. Since you want to talk about the housing market up here, they proud of them houses up here. I come down there to LaGrange and I look at some of them houses in LaGrange. I'm like, shit, I can afford a castle down here. I'm like,
it is wild.
But in regards to business, I don't think it's really affecting service industry guys as much. You know, it may be affecting the food industry a lot more. I don't know, but I'm always of the mindset that you have to lean into whatever's happening. There's successful people that are going to come out of any time in history. There always has been, always will be. You have to make kind of a decision to be that guy. You know, you can't, I don't come, you know, you and I, we don't even talk about this. This is very interesting. Like, I don't think you and I have ever had a conversation like on your dock about inflation. Like, we don't even, it's not like a conversation we have. No. We don't really care. You know, we don't really converse about the things that a lot of people we grew up with talk about. Right. And that it goes to mention that that's on purpose. You know, we've had to weed that out of our conversations through our life. And that's probably why we connect. But it's something that will take you down if you mull on it. Because what you think about grows, what you talk about grows, and then it starts to manifest. You start waking up thinking about it. And eventually you start figuring out that you could have gone and just pressed on and kept going and figured out higher margin services to offer and marketed better, maybe learned how to market better, you know, and it
don't hurt.
It don't hurt to do that. And then all of this stuff was just missed. You know what I mean? It was just missed. It wasn't even real in a sense.
Yeah, Reggie's they got a bunch of our buddies here in the chat. Sweetwater's in the chat. Reggie said he typo, but he said he don't give a first damn about it. And look, it doesn't fall on deaf ears. Like, I do get it because I mean, I haven't been a business owner forever. I work somewhere, and if you're clocking in and you're clocking out, which is what most people do, this is a business channel. So by default, you know, I know a bunch of people watch us on the different platforms and stuff, and we're not like super Saiyan gods of business, but we're pretty good at it. But most humans clock in somewhere and they clock out, and their extra money comes from overtime or a new thing, a fairly new thing in America is the gig economy, which is possible because of our phones and apps and, you know, Grubhub, Uber Eats and DoorDash and all that, Instacart. Emily trying to do Instacart yesterday because she thinks it's like a game. I said, no, you're going to stay home, and that way I can see you. See, I just want to look over there and you be all right, and I'm going to look back at TV. But most people, they don't really have this other avenue like us as business owners. So everybody in the chat right here, I'm sure is the guys I know, business owners, right? So we've got this other big lever that most people don't have. Now, most businesses fail, and even the ones that don't flat out close don't really make a profit. So that doesn't mean because you're a business owner, you're automatically like good to go. That's not what that means, but it means you have a whole lot more, you got a whole lot more swing that you can power through. So example, I think it was last night, Trump, I saw it this morning, but Trump's proposed a new thing. I think it's a great idea to not tax overtime. My dad's worked a lot of overtime his whole working life. Like my childhood, dad didn't really count it till it was 60 hours. Like if dad worked 40 hours, he was like, oh, man, I had a slow week this week. That's the only way he could raise 3 kids, But now with inflation being what it is, and a statistic I read last week on an article said one number I read said about 11,000 and some change. Another one said 17,000 was what inflation just since COVID to today has ate up in the average median family budget. So you think about a family making, 80 grand, whatever, 85 grand, 90 grand, 70, something in there. And now you just lost $17,000. Well, that sucks. So for those humans, inflation is a really big deal. And what Aaron was just talking about is we don't look at it as that big of a deal. It's not that we don't know it's there or care. I do. If I could wave my hand and make it go away, I would. I'm not even saying it doesn't affect our business. It does affect my business. But what I'm saying is because I am a business owner, I want to keep my mind on the side of the side of the equation that's not the inputs, right? Because if you're a regular person, you went to college, you've got a job, or you're somewhere at a plant, you're at a warehouse, right? You're working somewhere, and your inputs are somewhat fixed. Mm-hmm. And you can change that a little with a little overtime. But if you work a shitload of overtime, what are you going to do? Add a third to the bottom line over the year, right? Maybe. Right?
Yeah, maybe.
So that still just basically gets you to where you were pre-inflation. So if that's your story, it sucks city out there. Now let's leave that behind and come over where we're at as a business owner. Let's look at Sweetwater here. He 20 years old. He's a handsome lad. He's a good looking boy. But no homo. But he's got the mindset, and I think even him, as young as he is in business, he's already seen this. Catch out some of the older guys in here that are, we got a little more age on us guys. We're, 40 or damn near it, which is I don't want to admit. If I lost $17,000 last year to inflation, you know what that is? Aggravate. That's what it is. It's like, I'll be damned. Because I'm going to bet on myself. I was already planning on making another 150, 200, 300, right? $500,000. Like that's what we're talking about. So it's just baked into the pie that bullshit's going to happen, right? Something's going to happen. You're going to soak up some amount. Something's going to get lost to something. So it doesn't matter, right? Not saying that we're cool with it. Just saying that it doesn't really affect, at the end of the day, it is way down the list of variables in the equation. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people don't think they have as much control. If you're conditioned by you're working at a job and, they tell you how much they're going to pay you in the first meeting. And then you have an opportunity for overtime and you take it all the time. They tell you how much that's worth, right? They're dictating what you're worth. And so I can understand where you're in essentially a fixed economy in that little building, how that could really affect you. But for a lot of guys here in the chat, for guys who are business owners, all of that's just arbitrary nonsense. I mean, for me, when I first got started, I'd work. How many hours are in a week?
A
Like,
hell of a lot.
that's how many I would work. I didn't really have a schedule. I didn't have, oh, I got to be in bed at 10. No, Aaron stayed up till like 1, 2 every night for like years. Okay. And so it wasn't a thing. And I think you have to be that way early on, and you have to kind of have that dog mentality. I've always preached this. We've preached this, but especially, you know, when you're learning how to deal with the ebbs and flows of the economy, right? If you bake in a dog mentality to yourself for like 2 solid, 3 solid years, dude, none of this stuff is going to hurt you. You're like, oh, I know the exact lever I need to pull. I need to target this group of people. I need to run this set of ads. I need to get some flyers and some signs out here. Oh, look, $20,000 more. You're like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's that quick. Or if you're catch out, it's like 2 jobs. It's $20,000. You know what
Well,
I mean?
it's just
like,
what is that, like 3, for real, like 10 grand is in our world for an average guy, an extra 10 grand is probably 3 days worth of work. 4, like if you suck, it's like a week, right? So if you're saying to the average human on the street, hey, would you like to make an extra $20,000 next year? They're like, oh my God. You guys ever watch that? I don't mean you ain't never talked about that financial audit. You ever watch that guy, Caleb Hammer?
no.
Decent YouTube channel, little kind of pudgy dude. And he goes through people's personal finances. It's funny to watch because everybody's, broke and poor as hell. And he holds them accountable. It's all personal responsibility crap. When it comes down to it, they're buying taquitos and, turning their bank account down to like $5, those kind of people.
Right.
So when you ask the average person like that, like, hey, what would an extra $20,000 do to your life? That's game changing, life changing numbers for those kind of people. And it's not no money. It is money. Like 20 grand's money, but they don't know how in the world they could make an extra $20,000. It's like the furthest. It's so much work to that number that they don't really know how to do it. And I'm not saying that you should immediately quit your job because all these things are true. Therefore, if you're at work right now, listen, just walk out right now. Don't necessarily do that either, but you need to be aware that there's other ways, right? Maybe you keep that job and you start a side hustle, and you can grow that side hustle. You actually start a hobby. That's what you start. You can grow that to a hustle, and then if you want to keep going and you're good, you can grow that to a home run. That's an option. But for most people, they walk around and they look at businesses. I think most people, if they just walk down Main Street in their town and they look at all these businesses, it's like they just think they just materialized one day. They don't extrapolate that back and say, well, a dude that puts pants on owns that.
Yeah.
And he opened it one day and he had to fill it up with inventory, and he had to hang a sign, and he had to get a number, and he had to put an ad in the yellow pages right back then. He had to do, it's like, it's tribalism. It's like people that work for somebody else are one tribe, and everybody that's a business owner is the they.
Yeah.
They're all the theys. Really annoys me. I don't like being, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I've seen, some of these restaurants like in New York and stuff, right, where their lease payments they'll make you throw up, okay? And the dude's schlepping like lasagna.
Yeah.
You gotta look, good margin in lasagna, right? It's pasta, okay? So there is a good margin, but you know how many people?
It says like a mama making.
Yeah, how many people have to come through that door and buy the pizza, buy the lasagna just to make the rent payment? Like, our guys in our world don't know how good they got it. A lot of them do not. That's probably why I've taken a step back a little bit from making videos, because it just absolutely pisses me the fuck off. Like deeply in my core, like the inability for new guys in the industry to be grateful on the opportunity that they have in front of them, and the lack of bills that they have, like that will take you through inflation. Like the fact that you're lean and mean and you're not too far extended, you're not over leveraged in your business, that will carry you, man. It gives you time to sit back, think about, scheme some of the marketing plans, some of the things you're going to do. And sure enough, guys, if it's 20% inflation, so that's $20,000 per 100 grand. Say you're making 200 grand, you need to make 40 more thousand this year. Dude, all you got to do is sit down for a little bit. You will figure out how to make that and more.
It's like one apartment complex.
Dude, yeah, but if you're schlepping lasagna,
Right.
you got to sell 7,000 lasagnas today while you scheme. You see, that's hard, man.
You think about a guy in our industry that's not lean and mean, doing it the most jacked up way possible, loose with his finances, really ain't dialed in on his equipment, wastes chems, undercharges, right? He's still making money. A guy that's on that end of our spectrum is still running on about 5x the margin of a grocery store owner. So your first year, you don't know what the hell you're doing. You're not supposed to. It's your first year. It's okay. The beauty is it's baked into the sauce that you've got automatic runway in this business.
Yes.
That's like, well, hell, okay. I got my skid, I got my trailer, I got my equipment, right? You got to have all that. So let's pass that initial have to have step. A daily cost, a weekly cost. What are you talking about? You got $20 in a house wash, right? In chem, and 2 hours if you're slow by yourself, and you make $500, $600, right? Even down here where we're at, $425, like a basic house wash, small house. Well, hell, I can do 3 of them a day, and I ain't even bust sweat. Now, I'm not saying you're going to do that every day, and I'm not saying you're automatically rich. I'm just saying, imagine how hard it would be if you owned one. If you clocked in somewhere and clocked out somewhere, and inflation hits, that sucks. The next category is you're a business owner, but if you run a business with little bitty margins
and a lot of employees,
it still sucks, right? It's like kind of better, but it's not much better than the guy. You know, those are the guys that are like, shit, I should have just kept my job and worked some overtime. I'd have made more money. That's not us. We've got this little cottage niche thing here where we can go and make Sweetwater make 10K last week. Let's go, baby. The first year me and my wife were married, 2005, we filed joint tax returns, and we filed $54,000 as our adjusted gross income for the year. Married, filing
needed to be adjusted.
Oh, yes, yeah, I cut that very demure. Yes.
Dial it in.
Yeah. We will take the standard deduction, please. Like $54,000. Now that was 2005, and you know what? We were fine. Like we bought a house the next year, a little starter home. I know times has changed, but here's what I also know: people are always looking for the excuse of it's too hard. It's too hard. They got this inflation going on. You know, I got to do for me and mine. They got this depression. It's always something. It's gonna always be. You know, it's gonna be some shit.
So if it's always something, then it's also always nothing.
Well, I'll be damned.
Because I noticed that, dude, growing up, everybody there was always a problem.
Bro,
there's always some ethereal cloud. You know, the Russians are coming, the depression, 9/11. Oh, World War III's coming.
2008.
Just so if it's always something, I thought about this years ago. I was like, if it's always something, then apparently it's always nothing. Because I'm fine. Like I'm still breathing. Yeah,
yep.
There were some like a year or two that I had to eat beans and rice. I had to rough it. Right. Yeah, it sucked. But that's starting a business. Like starting anything. Like it sucks because you don't know what you're doing. It's supposed to suck. And the reason it's supposed to suck is because other people won't go through the sucky time. That's good. It weeds them out. They don't have any grit. They're not going to go through this time of uncertainty and trying to figure out how to market and how to sell and how to clean, how to do all these things, right? And take any training, right? They're just not going to. RPC said it. They're just, it is truly laziness is what it is.
I will note that RPC, down Florida guys, he does look like Chuck Norris, circa about 97 right there in that photo with the Dodge on Walker, Texas Ranger. Great profile pic. But he also says You guys need to go to the class this month, and you do. Just about forgot to even mention that. I got the ticker rolling at the bottom of the screen here. That was one of those Daily Wire type segues, guys. Series starter tickets thing. We got about 4 tickets left. So if you guys want to come hang out with us next Friday and Saturday, 21st, 20th and 21st, here at Southeast Softwash HQ, head over to the website, go to the training tab, and there'll be a link right there. There'll be a product page. You can click it, sign up, show up. We'll feed you both days. A ton of info. And guys like, Catch Alves, I don't know if he's still watching, but he's probably working. Sweetwater, they've been to the class. It's not a class necessarily on this topic, but we do talk about business stuff and how to optimize your soft washing, pressure washing business for profitability so that you're not sitting around worrying about. I like the political stuff. I may one day start a political channel because I like it. It's more of a hobby. But I remember in 2007 or 8 or something that, 2008 was bad. Like it was rough. But my father-in-law, who owns a trucking company, he was like in serious depression over what was going on because the recession really affected trucking. Fuel prices went through the roof. And he really didn't know how to extrapolate back and like, well, okay, if rate goes up, your rates go up. Right. He was scared to raise his rates because he only calls for like 5 or 6 local places that do shingles and lumber. He's got flatbed trucks, so he's got a niche. He don't just haul anything, and he don't haul all over the country. He hauls in the Southeast. Most of his drivers were home every evening. Works great when it works. Okay. But boom, hit a speed bump. He's panicking because he didn't know how to really pivot off of that. What if one of these places close down or they go on short times? We don't really have that issue. It's like, I would not want, what I'm saying is I would not want to have his problems. Here's the problem that I would like to have. Okay. Here's the problem that in our little stupid ass world that we live in, if you're in this industry and you carry your ass over to one of the Facebook forums, all right, there's hundreds and thousands of hours and posts and bitching and moaning about a pump going down. My pump, my 12-volt went down. Even the gas-powered systems. And we talk about them all the time because compared to something like a super pump, it is worse. And it is, I wouldn't have one, right? There's no reason to now. And you got a super pump's got all the power you want. RPC still here in the chat. He sprayed a super pump in my driveway. We hung out. I never posted the footage. I got it in my phone. We hung out, shot a little footage. So I wouldn't have a gas powered one. But what I'm saying is it don't make a shit if you're running your business right. Like, it is the dumber choice. But wouldn't you rather have these type of, you got guys bitching about a swivel leaking, like 18 months after they got their rig. You got guys bitching about, man, I had to buy new hoses for my rig, man, hell shit. I had a guy one time in Memphis, idiot. Oh, ghetto thug life. He came up here. I'm surprised he didn't try to haul his trailer home in a Dodge Charger. I know that's offensive to you Dodge Charger owners out there, but since I don't give a damn, it'd be all right. But he came, picked his trailer up, smelled like weed. I'm like, dude, bro, hope you do well, but I just, whatever, dude. Off he goes, and he called back like a year later, mad because he blew a tire on the trailer. I'm like, dude,
tires blow.
Hey, man, you know what I'm saying, man? I'm saying I had a trailer and everything from y'all, you know what I'm saying? Well, first of all, talk right, please. Cut it over to normal mode for me because I can't translate that fast. But he just bitched Kelly Nielsen. Hey, Kelly. Kelly runs a store. Kelly tell you, bro, Kelly got this. I've looked at some of Kelly's like caveats on his site. Can't remember his site right off the top of my head, but he was like, I feel you right there because I know why you had to write that paragraph because somebody's like, they're worried about the dumbest shit in the world that ain't, if you piled it all together, it ain't $6,000 a year.
It's people who aren't business owners, Cody. That's what it is. They're hobbying and they're still stuck in the clocking in land, but they want the positive attributes of running a business, but they don't
Talk
want the
about that for a minute.
whole responsibility of running a business.
Talk about that for a minute, because that is actually, I think you just nailed the crux of it. They're still operating in their mental headspace as a clock in, clock out guy, and some magic person is going to take care of the facilities and the shit. So they're wanting to double dip. Talk about that.
Well, it's like the guy who's the stocking guy at Walmart, right? He doesn't really see when he leaves, he doesn't see the guy who's sweeping the floor. Like that shit's happening. Somebody's being paid for that. And somebody's actually stocking the whole other side of the building as well. Like he thinks he lives in his own world, and somehow these things just spawn. Like the floors are clean because all he does is stock, but somehow the floors are not just covered in dirt. Well, you run a business. Well, those are your floors and those are your shelves. And those that's your electrical and that's your gas going into your truck. All of these things now become yours. Okay. And there are positives to this, right? Because you can kind of wake up when you want to wake up, and you can go clean when you want to clean. You schedule the customers only at 11 a.m., meaning I don't leave the house before 10 a.m., right? You get a little freedom. I pick my kids up every day at 3 p.m. from school. That is a luxury that business owners like us, it's pretty common if a guy has a business running, right? But it's like all of those other things are still happening behind the scenes, whether or not you want to look at them. Those hoses, as soon as you crank that washer up the first time, that ticker starts on that hose. See?
So all they're wanting to do is just go actually do the washing piece.
That's it. They're
not wanting
be
to take accountability for the having some chems in the garage on hand, right? Like a spare pump, a swivel on hand, pulling maintenance at the end of the year, right? Like doing the marketing. That's your thing. Doing the marketing. Like they're only because that's the part that we see. It's like the show up, the hook up to the customer's spigot, wash the fucking house, right? That's the part. It is the part, right? It is the part. But there's other tertiary shit that has to happen.
If we made videos about all of this stuff, no one would watch it. No one would watch. Well, I'm just going to switch out these swivels today. What do you mean they were broke? No, it's just time to switch them out. You know, like it's just time to switch out this hose. I blew it once, maybe repaired it one time, and now it's done. You know, like get rid of it. Don't try to repair it again. You know, oh hell, I'd repair it 17 times. No, throw it away, throw it in a ditch. Like if you made videos just about that stuff, I don't really feel like anybody would want to see that.
No,
because it's just absolutely mundane and boring, but it is actually the main piece of this puzzle. It's all the stuff you don't see is what matters.
Well, when I first started building equipment, I didn't calculate. I did not math out that people would have to be told these things, right? Like the tech support system we have now, and the videos and the way that we archive all the footage of everything that gets built, down to every super pump that leaves the building is filmed, serialized, archived. I didn't do that in the early days because I didn't know people were that dumb.
Yeah, no.
I was just like, no, I mean, you'll just change your oil in your machine, right? You're like, no.
I won't change no damn oil.
You live in like, I mean, these guys were living in like Ohio, you know, somewhere way up. And they were like having to be told to winterize, and mad as hell if they didn't and something, a fitting cracked. It was like, well, and then they was like, y'all just use, I had a dumbass named Randy. I ain't gonna tell you his name. His initials was Randy Hurtado. And he bought a trailer from us. He was fine. And he felt some kind of way because he had it 6 months and he didn't winterize, and a fitting on the manifold, the bottom fitting, the elbow, I think it was that, it broke. And he said to me, well, y'all use these cheap fittings. No, we use plastic fittings because they won't corrode. However, you got to winterize, homie. Like, you got to winterize. So they were always just trying to offload that responsibility of keeping the lights on, if you will. But there's so many moving parts. But here's what I found: the more of those things you have, right, and you have them running and the more things that you have kind of in the ether, the richer you are. Wouldn't you want to be the guy that owns, like, think about how hard it would be to own one little mom and pop grocery store. But think about how easy it is to be the CEO of Publix. Now, is it easy? It is in a way. It's easier. But is it harder? Well, in another way, it's harder.
Much harder.
So what you get to do is you get to pick your hard,
Yeah.
right? Like, I'll tell y'all a secret. I ain't worked about none at all month. As far as what most people would consider work, right? I haven't worked what my country Alabama mind classifies as work.
That's
See,
hard.
I could get sucked into coming up here and helping them build a trailer because I built a million trailers. I know how to build trailers. I'm a mechanic-y kind of guy. I have a background in maintenance. I kind of like it. It's kind of fun. Tinker. I like the shit. But I haven't done that in a long time because I'm working on other shit that nobody sees, trying to do things that are, which one's easier? Because a lot of people would say, well, I want to get to that point where I don't have to. Okay, that's fine. I haven't sweated, dude, like all year. It's weird. Like, I don't sweat. I'd air condition the damn parking lot if I could. No, I'm not going to sweat. But is it easier? Which one is harder? Do you want to do 500 Zoom calls with an engineering firm and build a pump from scratch and troubleshoot all the, figure it out? Do you want to do that? Or is it easier to go turn them wrenches? Is it easier to wash? Like, here's what guys will say. And this is the antithesis to what you've preached with lean and mean. Well, I want to get to where I've got 5 trucks on the road, and I'm just in the 4 trucks, 5 trucks. I'm just in the office, and I want to get off the truck. That's like I say, get off the truck. Okay. RPC. How hard is that? It can be done. I'm not saying it's not it's a path you can choose, but it ain't easier. It might be less physical exhaustion.
Right.
Yeah. It ain't easier.
The mental load, the mental load on that guy is way beyond, you look at guys like you're saying who turn wrenches. My whole family does work, blue collar stuff. The one thing that I do kind of envy them about is at 5 p.m. they shut off.
Oh, it's great.
They actually leave work at work. Like, I haven't done that ever. I mean, and it's only turned up in the past 5 years where I'm kind of in it all the time. That's the life of an entrepreneur. I don't romanticize that. I kind of have to. I don't like that a lot because sometimes I'm thinking about work when I should be thinking about being present with my family, right? And I have to pop out of it. It's almost like a matrix, dude. You ever do that where you like pop out of it and you're like, bro, time is speeding by me. My children are growing.
I'm really aware of it because we adopted and we missed so much of their life early on. Like, I didn't see my boys until they were 3 years old. So I missed all of that. So I'm pretty hyper aware of that. But the problem is like I had to do it for so long.
Sure.
Which now has taught me that if I immerse myself, there's like 2 commas on the other side of that. But then I'm like, well, I got enough, but then you can't stop altogether because by the nature of the universe, shit's going to absorb it. Inflation, there's shit going on, competition, right? There's things can go wrong. So it's like finding a balance now. I don't need any more money, but trying to find a balance now between shutting down completely and being an offsite owner. That's fine. It's not wrong to do that. Could do it. Might do it. Don't know. But really finding out like where's the spot where you could pull that trigger. There's a guy in LaGrange, Todd Wizakowski. Todd got a crazy last name. He owns a wash company in LaGrange. They got a little building over there. I was right beside it this morning. I had to take a excavator back to United Rentals early this morning and then come over to the shop. I was right beside his building. And I met him in the road when I was coming this way. He was headed to his building. And I don't know how much Todd works. They hang Christmas lights. He's got 2 or 3 trucks on the road. And he's a retired guy from the power company. Todd's doing well, right? He don't need none of this shit. But he's been in it 4 or 5 years. He's doing well. He's still in the mix. I think a guy that runs one truck you know, like I've done it both ways. And I will tell you guys this. I was just as happy and it was just as mentally check off the box. I did a thing when I was running a truck, making 200,000 a year, right? Like I was now I've made millions a year, you know, I've made a million in a month, back to back to back months. But it's like, okay, well, really myself personally, I was just as good with like, shit, I just run on here claim about 5%, which is what I plan on doing when I retire one day, when I don't, you know, whatever happens, we keep the company running and it pretty much runs itself. But I'm not going to sit at the house. There ain't but so much sitting at the house you can do.
Yeah. I can't sit at the house, dude. That's out of the question. I mean, I can sit at the house. That's what I kind of do already. I can sit on the dock. I can work, but I like to work. I like to work a lot. I like to scheme. You know me. I always have an angle. I'm always approaching the market with something, you know, to speed up this process and release products. And we always have something in the tank that we're working on and that we're R&Ding and ready to release. That's the creative aspect of business that, you know, I feel like you have to go through this long process of hammering the nails, you know, to eventually, hopefully, get to a place that you can create and you can see what you've created and partook in, and people are using it and people love it. That's my personal
Right.
thing, but I always enjoy it. I don't think I'll ever quit working like that. I mean, I have a problem going on vacation and not working. I have an issue, you know. I like to crack my laptop, man. That's my box. Like I've checked into my scheming, my plotting of the day, if you will. You know, that's how I think. And
Which, you
I
know, if you had to err on one side or the other, it's definitely better. But you don't want to get sucked down it too far because, like, RPC's still here. And the point of it all, guys, is to be able to get to a point where you can do what you want to do.
right, right,
RPC is not a get off the truck guy, right? And people would shit on that and say, well, he's not doing it right. You know, he's been in business this many years. He should be off the truck in an office for anything. That ain't what he wants to do. He's rich. He dude's a multimillionaire. He could shut it all down and sit there and look at fucking iguanas in Florida if he wanted to. The point of it is you can do what you want to do. At the same time, if you're that guy, don't shit on the guy that wants to sit in the office and have truck. If that's what he wants to do, if he wants to do that, then that's the whole point, is to have autonomy.
right,
Autonomy from the buddies, autonomy from Washington, D.C., right? Autonomy from inflation,
right.
autonomy from you can't get me. Moat too thick, too many Caymans.
Too many
Now,
Caymans.
you never get really like completely done because Blockbuster went out of business.
Yeah,
Kmart failed. Multi-billion-dollar companies have failed, and some will fail this year and every year. So you never really. It's dangerous to think you're like out of the woods, but you got to
yeah,
kind of keep your finger right here on it. But you don't have to like marry up to it every day. But if that's what you like to do, that's fine. It's the beautiful thing is you get to do what you want to do. I could take a month off and go to Monaco. Might do that. Don't know. Right? I like that sentence. I enjoy that more than actually going.
yeah. The fact that you could,
I might.
yeah, I might. I
Don't
don't
know.
know. Hell,
We'd be sitting around there and be like, we'd be talking like, you know, I was looking at some Rolex Submariners. I ain't gonna buy one,
man,
but he might.
but I could.
But he might. could go get one, but might not. Like,
I've already got hell. I've already reached the pinnacle. I've
don't
built
matter.
of that.
Do it
It's
in
like,
business, you know. It's like add another rig, add another truck to the road, whatever. It could be something that is a good thing to do, but you don't have to do it. You get to make these decisions from a place where you're autonomous. You're not always behind the 8 ball of inflation or behind the 8 ball of something else. That's where you want to get to. You want to get, and you can do that through being an entrepreneur or a hellacious entrepreneur. You can do that way too. If you work somewhere and you got $750,000 in your 401k and, you know, 600 grand in equity in your house and 200K in a savings account, and you're paid 190 a year, the boss going to have a lot harder time jerking you around.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, if you're in a C position anywhere, like those guys are making millions of dollars a year in a lot of companies. Like, I don't know if you're in that position, why would you go start a pressure washing business? Maybe it's the other way.
Right.
Maybe you just want to be outside, but you've got all this money stacked away, right? And you know what I mean? So it's some people hate the job, right? They hate the job, but there are guys who do work jobs at C positions who do kind of what we do as far as marketing goes and stuff. And they don't have to be out working, right? They're making millions of dollars a year and they're fine, right? So not every job is out weed eating for some asshole on a landscape trailer, you know, like
Flip that. Yeah.
Flip that, you know, being that.
How hard would it have been for you or me or Sweetwater, one of these guys, to go be a multi-million-dollar paid see something at a company? Really hard. Like, it's a gamble either way, guys.
We are hell. Like, we don't
make my own.
Yeah, right, at somebody else's company. I think guys need to understand. We talk about that a lot in Lean and Mean, is like dictating kind of your parameters, but you can only dictate the parameters through a position of abundance, right? Yeah. Because if they can say, well, we're going to pay you $1 million a year, but we need you to live up here. We need you to be here 60 hours a week in the office. We need to be able to get in contact with you on Sunday afternoon, right? And you have this list of a dream of an autonomous life of kind of how you want to live. As soon as they mention one of those things that is not in your list, you have to say, nah, man, I'm out. Even though they're offering you $1 million a year, right? Because by design, right now, early on, you could probably go and say, hey, I'm going to work 4 years for this company, and then I'm going to make the money, and then I'm going to deuce out. Fam, I need y'all to chill out. Let me get this money for us, and then we'll go do what I want to do. That's normal. But a lot of people don't understand just how concise you have to be when it comes to lifestyle design. And you have to say no to a lot more than you're saying yes to. Yeah. And it does, once you get a little bit of money coming in, it does become harder to buy you away for any amount, because you're like, okay, you want me to do all of that, and then I have to answer to your asshole self, and then I have to do, no, dude, I'll just live my own life how I want to live it over here and make a little less, you know, and do it how I want to do it. Smoke cigars all day and hang out with my buddies and talk shit and create stuff. You know, that's what we want to do. So
I still have nightmares sometimes. It's rare, but it won't be like a specific, I'm talking about a for real dream. It's not like a specific dream, but I'll wake up maybe 2 or 3 times a year and I'll have that feeling of you're fixing to get in trouble at work. Like a grown ass man. And I never got in trouble much at work because I was a pretty high performing person. But you know, you get in trouble, you get rode up, shit happens. Like I think about like people that be in traffic. I got stopped by the train the other day. Train. There are people honking, they mad. Train gets on out of the way and I go. And there's dudes zipping around me, and whoa, and I'm like, where the hell? Then I thought, well, hell, he's probably late for work. And it was like, it's been so long that I said, I'm like late for, and I had that feeling that there's somebody that's going to say something to me about it, about whatever it is. It's just weird now because I'm like, I don't know what that, what is that? It's a weird thing. I'm not saying it's wrong. I mean, I have employees down there right now, but I don't go in there and ride their ass. Like they'd have to do something really stupid to get. The benefit is they don't have to think about nothing.
Yeah.
Check coming, good check coming, pretty stable, right? There's a trade-off either way. If you don't want nobody saying shit to you and you want a no upper limit to income, it comes with selling grays. It comes with a lot of other stuff. You're not calculating. You can't calculate it because you ain't never seen it before. You don't know what it looks like. You don't know. It's a lot of bullshit. It's a lot of some guy up here in the chat. Right. I just ignored him, and he may not be asking it no kind of way. A lot of this, a lot of that. Hell, I don't know, Mike. I don't know. Like I was walking around my back pocket, damn a buck slip with all the pumps. Almost like ass producing here. We ain't one at a time, and it's a powerful new force. Shake a leg, Junior. Good thing your mammy died in childbirth. If she'd have seen you, she'd have died of shame. It's a lot of that. It's a lot of that. It's a lot of just a million things. You know, you got clients, you got stuff always being thrown your way. It's just a lot. So, guys, what the point of this is to say that I don't know how much inflation is. I don't know. I know it's there. I know it's probably ate a little bit into my household budget for the year. I can kind of tell it, but these are the conversations that we have. Yeah, I went grocery
How do
shopping.
we make more? Right. That's
Emily doesn't say she went grocery shopping because we pay other people to do that. They bring the groceries to the house, and she'll say, "Huh, it's kind of $427. We didn't get hardly a whole lot, did we? Anyhow, what we're gonna do about this, that, and the other?" It's like it's a little baboon in the. It's just a conversation point. It doesn't change the day. You get to go talk about making more,
right.
doing new things, make more money, man. There is an unlimited amount of money. It's unlimited.
I always say, stop focusing down. Like I tell this to my boy, you know, anybody talking about some problems that ain't really problems. You focusing down like a downward line on a graph, right? You got to focus up. How do we make more? How do we go out and extrapolate more from the market by giving equal or more value to the market?
Offer a new service.
Absolutely. How do we do that? How do we do that? That's the question. Ask that to yourself when we get off this call. How do I make more? You'd be surprised what your brain will conjure up.
You were talking about earlier about saying no to things too, because once you flip that switch, you have a new problem. There's so many things. You can pick too many and hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Like for these guys, it could be Christmas lights. May make perfect sense. Oh, duh, dumbass. When's my down season? Here to here. Well, shit, that's the holiday. Oh, well, shit, we could do Christmas lights, right? Oh, duh. And then you look back in 4 years, like, why weren't we doing that all along? That was extra $200,000 to the bottom line. Duh. But then it could be now we're doing window cleaning. Now we're doing what was the other one I just thought about? Parking lot striping, right? We're doing commercial at night. We're doing hood vent clean. We're doing you gotta pick your shit, right? Any of those could work. That's the challenge, and that's the fun part of business is figuring out what those things are going to be. What's your core service? I got a local guy. He bought a skid. Now he's got a trailer with 2 lawnmowers on it, and he goes around, he cuts grass, wash it, works for him, right? Here's what will tell you if it's working or not, the P&L. The P&L will tell you. You got to know your numbers because you can throw all kind of – the worst thing you can do is do nothing. The second worst thing you can do is try to do everything. So you got to kind of – but you don't want to not try things, but you got to be willing to try something and also simultaneously willing to hang it up if it's not working.
Totally.
Run it, see if it's working. If you're lacking some money, that's the indicator that's telling you are poor and you need to go do something else. Do more of what you're doing. That could be it. You don't do anything new. You just do more of what you're doing. It could be that. There's a lot of guys that just simply added Christmas lights or something, added paver ceiling.
We like that. We appreciate that.
It ain't
worth a damn.
I never did any paver sealing when I was running a truck, mostly because there weren't no pavers sealed.
There's not the first paver in Randolph County. There is not one. Only people with money have pavers.
He said, I tell you, I tried to seal a dirt road. It did not work. I look back now, it's like it was so much harder when I was doing it. And then you go back to when Dad started in the mid 80s, like damn near impossible,
Bro.
And we still got guys like, it can't be done. Like, you got one of these.
You got the internet in
You got
your
one of
phone.
these.
You got connectivity to everyone on the planet in your phone, in your pocket, man. Like, dude, your dad worked it was so much. He's basically Sisyphus. He's just pushing the rock uphill. It's just he's batch mixing with a damn paint mixer, mixing up chlorine.
Literally. Literally. Like, Dad would
don't all
go
dissolve. It gets in your pump.
Ooh. Oh yeah. I was a kid sitting on the back of the truck, and my job was to pull the trigger on that drill about every 3 minutes.
Oh, it agitate.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Here's Dad about 1987. Goes to Walmart's. All right. Walmart's. Go up there and get the resume paper. Some people call it resume paper. Some people call it resume paper. Because it was the fancy paper. Dad comes home and we had a typewriter. What are those ugly stains on your roof? Ding. Great question. Ding. It is called Glue Cut. Ding. Typed it out. Grab another one. Feed into the copier, to the typewriter, the copier now, typewriter. Adjust the visor.
He's got that green
visor. What are those ugly stains on your roof?
Bro,
good question. Now you type your white ass up about 100 of them, and then you drive to South Atlanta, and you hand them out, and know that most of them are going in the trash. And y'all sitting out here talking about flyers don't work. What you mean? You EDDM'd them? You spent about 15 minutes, paid a little money, and about 5,000 of them went out, and you're mad because you didn't get enough ROI? Like you didn't get enough? This plum won't spray. Well, there's some bitch spraying 5 stories. Well, you used... We had pump up sprayer and we had this. We throw it up there. Like
we throw it up.
Hose spoiled. Like we didn't have hose reels. We barely had a damn hose. Like it.
Them deltoids were strong, cuz.
Nothing's never good, and nothing works. Nothing's good enough. There's always a reason. There's always. People won't pay in my area. Yeah, they will. Yeah.
They do. You got to be willing to go to that level of grit that Lane had. That kind of was my mentality early on. Like, people, they won't buy. No, I'll make them buy. Like, I got to that level of just like, they don't have a choice. I will sell these leads, right? Well, what if they don't buy? Shut the fuck up. They're gonna buy. Like, because you guys have that voice in your head. What if they don't go for the bid? Shut the fuck up. Tell that voice to shut up. They're going to buy. They don't have a choice. Everyone I stand in front of, I will close that moment. I'm going to close them. I'm going to ask them to sign on the line, which is dotted, basically closing the deal. I'm never going to leave an estimate with them ever. I'm asking them to buy, especially if you're brand new. You're just getting started. No one gets an automated estimate when you're brand new, bro. No one knows you. You can't risk it, especially if you're poor as shit. Okay. If you already got a lot of money, then you can send automated stuff. You got, but if you're like just getting started and you have to have the money and you're not standing in front of every single customer closing the job, then you apparently don't need the money. You don't mind sleeping under a bridge, then go do it.
Don't need it that bad.
Apparently you don't need it that bad. For me, it was like, no, I'm standing in front of every soul I meet. I'm telling them the price and I'm saying, how does next Tuesday work for you?
I worked my 8 hours today. I'm done.
Yeah, okay. Ain't no 8.
I worked my 40 this week. I'm done. Like I put in my 40. Why am I not? I need a living wage. I need to be. I need. Okay. You just go out there and tell it to that maple tree and see what happens.
Yeah.
Not shit's going to happen. You going to either die or do something different.
The bridge will cover you in a rainstorm. It will. It's going to be cold as shit in the wintertime, though. I'm going to tell you, them women, they can get government assistance. They don't give a damn about you boys right here looking at this camera, okay? You can be out on the street pushing a little Walmart cart, you know? That's where you can go, and no one is going to come. And once you understand that, everything will change for you, and you will not leave the side of that job. If you really actually need the money, you won't leave the side of that job without at least making the customer tell you no. Okay.
Aaron, are you worried about inflation?
Not the first bit, because you know what? I'll crank Mad Max back up. Boy, hey, don't put it past me now. I have to refund now. But hey, I did it once. I'll do it again.
I keep a loose skid sitting around now. Ain't no damn thing. Do not care. Actually, kind of like it. Kind of like
tucked in the woods. You like it, you know. You like it. We like it because you don't have to do it. It's like if you know if you had to do it, I don't like that shit. But
it's guys, come and hang out with us at the event if you want to. If you've been before, we appreciate you, all my homies in the chat. Hope y'all guys have a great Friday. We're entering kind of the ending of the season. Hopefully you're segueing over into something else. Maybe you got a shitload of money put back. You ain't worried about it. That's fine too. Boys, have a great weekend. We'll see you at the Serious Starter Boot Camp next weekend. Anything else before we go?
That's it, man. Go to southeastsoftwash.com or Cody, you left a link somewhere maybe in the description.
Could be.
Go to the training section on southeastsoftwash.com and come over there, join us. We'll sell it out. It'll be a great time. 2-day event. Your one ticket, is worth the 2 days. So that covers everything for you, and lunch both days. So come hang out with us. We're going to train. It's going to be super concise. The second day, I'm going to fill your brain full of all the knowledge that you're going to need to go market and be successful. I've done it for thousands of guys at this point, and the guys who really grasp it and really just listen to what I'm saying, they go out and they become, the Todd Catchells and the Andrew Cleggs and these guys that you're seeing that we reference a lot of, right? These are the people, when we start referencing people, Mike Termans, right? These are the people who they all took the class, but they all are the guys who just, Westfall, they all go out and actually do what was taught. And that's why it's so cool. And that's why we reference them, because we're like, I told you that shit works if you just do it. I told you that shit works.
You do it. Hey, and look, you go do it good enough. You learn some other shit and you come back and teach me something.
That's it, man.
I ain't saying I know everything. I'm just real close to knowing everything.
Just real. Now about a pump.
About a pump now. Gonna be hard to tell me something. Gonna be hard to tell me something about a pump or Christian theology.
He's a little G God. He's a little G God.
Hard shoot at on that. Guys, have a great weekend. We'll see you later. Peace out.
All right.